No, no se puede. So then do you have days like that you're not in court where you put it, you have to, right, where you put them all together for the transcripts? Oh, goodness. Oh, no. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, okay.
Good morning, you may be seated. All right, Ms. Anthony, you may redirect the position.
No, before I begin my redirect.
Oh, come on, boy. Yes, ma'am. Come on, boy. you wish.
Dr. Flores, the district attorney asked you about whether Hemy tried to call the police or to take the children himself. Did he tell you, or did you address that with him?
I did address it with him.
Okay, and what did he tell you?
He said that his mission was basically to protect the children, and he didn't think about it. He didn't stop to analyze it. He just acted on it. There's nothing logical or
Objection to the characterization. The question was, what did the defendant tell you, and that was the answer.
Sustained.
Can I just ask one more? Yeah.
Or you can ask me the question as you wish.
Is that response consistent with your diagnosis of a delusion?
it is. It's very consistent with somebody that's delusional. And in that, individuals with delusions don't question, don't sit and analyze. They act on it.
Okay. She also asked you whether or not he had told anyone that Ian and Sophia were his children. Is that surprising to you?
No, it is not surprising at all that he would not tell others about the children.
Okay. And specifically, in speaking with Orna, the human relations person from GE, are there reasons why he would not have told her that he had 2 children with Andrea?
Yes, she was a human services individual who would have reported him.
Okay. She asked you if he lied to you, then would your opinion about the delusions, would your opinion be wrong? Are there things that you would expect to see if he had lied to you?
That is correct.
Objection, Your Honor. Asked and answered.
Well, let me do it this way. The jury may or may not have heard it already, but I'm going to give both lawyers a little latitude. A jury will ultimately decide whether or not they have heard and something more than one time. But I'm going to give a little latitude at this point in time. And the jury will call whether or not they've heard that question and heard that answer.
Thank you.
This time.
Okay. So if, regarding her question about if he lied to you then about the delusions, would that change your opinion? Are there signs you would expect to see if that were true?
That is correct. If he had in fact lied, I would have expected to see his presentation be different when I met with him in 2011. He would not have appeared to actually still be harboring some kind of delusional thought. I would have expected, for example, looking at the transcript from Georgia Tech and seeing that in fact when he indicated to me that he had a depressive episode, there would have been no substantiation there. I would have expected that there would have been other lies, that I would not have been able to corroborate the information that he was giving me. So if he in fact had lied, I would not have expected as much corroborating, supporting information as I had for what he was reporting. And his presentation would have been very different when I met with him in 2011. Mentally, he would have presented differently. I would have expected his lawyer to have told me that.
Objection.
Sustained. Next question.
Would you expect the testing to have come out differently?
Yes, I would have expected the testing to have indicated that in fact he was malingering or exaggerating or making up symptoms that he did not have.
Okay. The district attorney asked you about his statement that he felt like he and his sister raised themselves. Was there ever, before he met Nili in Israel, was there ever anyone that he had a stable relationship with, an emotional relationship there, actively raising the two of them?
I object to the form of the question asking for fact. If the question is what the defendant told the witness, I believe that's appropriate.
Sustained. Rephrase that question.
Did he tell you that there was ever anyone, a stable single person in the household, actively raising he and his sister prior to his going to Israel and meeting Nili and his brother's father?
No, there was not. He never had somebody that he felt was a parent, a mother figure or a parent figure in the home up until he met Nili.
Did he ever tell you why, or indicate to you why he did not try again to tell Andrea the children were his?
Yes. He stated to me that she, when he made the attempt in Longmont, that she completely shut him out, is what he said. She wouldn't hear of it, so he just thought that that's a topic, a conversation that he could not open up again.
Okay. The district attorney asked you about that the fact, or your prior testimony, that the angel did not specifically tell him, kill Rusty, that the statements were more ambiguous. Does that give you a clue, or does that give you information about whether he is malingering?
It actually informs me that he's actually likely not malingering. If he had said that he had a very direct sequence of events that the voice had told him, actually laid out how he was to commit this offense, that would have been suspect for malingering. So the fact that the direct that he got was more broad is actually more consistent with a real hallucination, in that he wasn't told specifically how to do it and what to do.
Okay.
It's something that he again, it's sort of that seed planted with a delusion, and it's something that through his lens, he just went to illogical, irrational thinking.
Now, you referred, the district attorney asked you about your prior testimony that essentially he wanted to be with Andrea to raise the children and hoped that could happen after this. Did he ever tell you that she told him, I love you, or gave him any indication that they could be together if Rusty...
Counsel, you're asking...
I'm asking whether Hemy Neuman told her in any of her conversations with him...
what Andrea Sneiderman may have said? Is that the question?
Right. Or what his... Did he believe that she had given him indications that this would happen?
No, on the contrary. He said that he had not had any indication that they would, in fact, be together at any point.
Okay. And do you remember the date or the close to the date where you gave that prior testimony?
It was March of 2012.
Did you ever address with him or ask him about the delay between when the hallucination happened in September and then the actual shooting in November?
Yes, I did.
Can you tell us about that?
He said that what he did is he thought about it and had thoughts of planning it, of how he was going to do it, thought of multiple ways that he could accomplish the mission, and that as time went on, he felt more urgency to go ahead and complete the mission.
Talking about the district attorney was asking you about the delusion. Is there any reason why anyone else, besides possibly Andrea, would have known about the delusions?
Objection, speculation.
Can you restate that question?
I can restate it more narrowly.
Okay. Sustain that objection.
Is there anything that he told you about this time period and the delusion that would make you think someone else knew about the delusion or would have or should have known about the delusion?
No.
Objection, speculation.
Sustain. You want me to answer that question? You want to rephrase that question?
Let me ask it this way. If someone is delusional and has a delusion like what Hemy Neuman had, would that be obvious to someone else?
No, it would not.
Speculation.
Would
That
be
goes
what
to the-
someone
that goes to the
else? Don't you ask
definition.
this witness to speculate as to what may be in someone else's not sustained?
Specifically addressing the definitions of delusion and what it means. Is a delusion visible to someone else.
They are not observable. They are not, no. Not this type of delusion.
And is there any reason why he would have, or did he tell you any reason why he would have told someone else about the delusion?
Can you ask the question again? I'm sorry.
Was he aware of the delusion?
Oh.
Could he have told anyone else about it?
No, he himself did not realize that he was delusional. To him, it was his reality. And so there was no reason for him to be expressing this as any issue. He didn't think there was an issue. He thought it was just normal life, is what he said. He said that up until I evaluated him, that he just thought things were just normal in his life.
Okay. And did he discuss with you any reason why he would not have told people about the first delusion that the children were his?
Yes, and that is because the people at work, for example, he said that he wouldn't tell them because they were all aware of who Andrea Sneiderman was, and that he was her supervisor, and that was a relationship that was not supposed to happen. With Melanie White, she knew his wife, and because they were having marital problems and looking at divorcing, that would also not have been in his best interest to have shared with her having additional children.
Okay. Thank you, Doctor. Nothing further.
Any recalls?
I'm sorry,
I'm sorry, I thought you said thank you, but maybe go ahead.
Sorry, just one more question.
Sorry, ask as many as you wish.
On November 18th, the district attorney asked you whether he was seeing having any hallucinations. On November 18th, was he under a delusion?
He was very much under delusion.
objection to the form of the question. Did he tell you he was under the illusion? I think it's something the witness can answer.
Sustained. You want to rephrase that question?
In your opinion, was he under a delusion on November 18th, 2010?
Yes, he was.
Thank you.
Any more questions, Ms. Hanson?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Any recross?
Very briefly.
Ask as many questions as you wish.
Thank you. Hey, Dr. Flores, you were talking with Ms. Sampson about the testing that you did and that you wouldn't have expected it, or you would have expected it to come out differently if the defendant was lying, if he was faking, if he was malingering. Do you remember that question?
Yes.
All right. Who gave the test?
I gave the test.
Who answered the questions?
Mr. Neumann did.
Who scored it?
I scored it.
All right. And the testing we're talking about, it's not like a scan. It's not like a blood test. It's not a medical test, correct?
No, it is not. It's a standardized measure where I have a way that I have to score it.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned, by my count, 4 or 5 times this Georgia Tech transcript, the defendant's college transcript, as corroborating what he said. You have this document, and this corroborates what the defendant says about being depressed during college. Do you remember answering those questions?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
And what you refer to, there's nothing on this transcript that refers to the defendant getting mental health treatment. Is that right?
That's correct.
That transcript doesn't say he took an incomplete in a class, right?
Correct.
Because he couldn't get out of bed, right?
Correct.
That transcript doesn't say anything about the defendant failing out of school, right?
Correct.
He got an A, 3 B's, and a C. Is that what you're talking about?
Oh, let me see. It's the one where he had 2.7 something.
It sure is. It's right there. Did he get an A, 3 B's, and a C?
He did. But the issue here is that this is atypical for this particular individual.
Well, sure, because the semester before he got 2 A's, 2 B's, and 1 C.
He had a 3.26. He was in the dean's honor list every other semester except
Every
that
other
one.
semester except for this one. What's the class he got a C in? Can you tell?
Electromagnetism.
He was an aerospace engineer?
I believe that was his major, yes.
And this is the only part of the transcript that you were referring to those several times as corroboration for what the defendant described to you. Is that right? There's no other page of that you were referencing?
Corroboration for that particular specific depressive episode.
Okay. Yes. That's yes?
Yes.
All right. When Ms. Hanson asked you about commands from the hallucinations, delusion, he didn't question it, right? When the angel told him to kill, to protect the children, he didn't question it. That's what you said?
Yes.
And he didn't analyze it. Is that what he said?
Yes.
That's what you said? He acted on it, right?
Yes.
That's what he had to do.
Yes.
All right. All the times the devil told him to kill himself. Did he question it?
Not always.
Sometimes.
He never questioned it. He thought about how he could do it,
And then didn't?
and then sometimes did and sometimes did not.
Sometimes he did.
Sometimes he did attempt suicide.
Did he analyze it?
No, he did not.
And he didn't act on it in several instances.
In some instances, he did not act on it.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Flores.
And redirect. Is that a yes?
Just one question.
That's the man's wish.
Thank you.
Now, Lord, this is the last go around, so make sure you
Yes,
ask
sir.
any questions. Once you sit down and she sits down. So this is, go ahead.
The demon hallucination, or the demon, were there times that he acted on what the demon told him?
Yes, there are.
And were there actual suicide attempts?
Yes, there are.
Okay.
Suicide
Thank you.
attempts.
Thank you.
And a recross.
He's still alive, right?
Yes.
Nothing else.
Lawyers made us witness to release an excuse. Dr. Pino, do you want Dr. Flores to remain in subpoena? All right. You may come down, Dr. Flores. You're still on the subpoena, so you may be subject to recall. Thank you. Have a good day. Drive safely.
Thank you.
All right, next witness.
The defense would call Marion Mesh.
You ready?
Monique Mesh.
Go ahead and have a seat, folks. Go ahead and raise your right hand. You solemnly swear to affirm the testimony you shall give the court the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Please raise your hand. Please state and spell your name for the record.
Monique Match, Monique, Match, Metsch.
You may proceed.
Is there another name that you go by?
Miriam.
And you know Hemy Neuman?
Yes.
And what is your relationship to him?
He's my brother.
Is he older than you or younger than you?
He's older than me.
Do you have any other siblings?
Yes, I have another brother.
Miriam, are you married?
Yes, I am.
Do you have children?
Yes.
Where do you live?
I live in Hollywood, Florida.
And how long have you lived in Hollywood, Florida?
I've been there for 22 years.
When was the last time that you lived in the same area of the country or out of the country as Hemy?
Oh, we lived in Puerto Rico. When was the last time? In Puerto Rico.
Okay. And do you remember approximately when that was?
I don't remember the exact year. I was about 11.
Okay. When you were about 11?
Yes.
Who are your parents?
Rebecca Cohen, and Mark Newman.
Are your parents still together, still married?
No, they've been divorced for many years.
Okay. And how old is your father now?
My father is 93.
And how old is your mother?
My mother is 77.
Where does your father live?
My father lives in Hollywood, also in Hollywood, Florida.
Okay. And where does your mother live?
My mom also lives in Hollywood, Florida.
Does your father have any siblings?
Yes, he does. He has one brother living.
And do you know that brother? Your
Yes, I
uncle?
do.
Does your mother have any siblings?
Yes, she has 5 sisters and 1 brother.
And have you met them?
Yes.
Are you close to them?
I'm going to object to this juncture as to the relevance of this line of question.
Lawyers approach voluntarily. We're back on the record. I'll sustain that objection. Let's move on.
Does Hemy know your mother's siblings?
Yes, he does.
Does he know your father's sibling?
Yes, he does.
Did he have occasion when he was growing up to spend time with your aunts and uncles?
Yes, quite a bit.
Did he have occasion to spend time with cousins?
Yes.
While you and Hemy were growing up, did your father have any markings on his body?
Objection, Your Honor, relevance.
But yes, all right. Let me make sure I understood that quick. You asked her that her father had any markings on his body?
Correct.
All right, sustain. This one is done. Next question.
Are you aware, or was Hemy aware, I will rephrase that, was Hemy aware of your father's childhood?
Yes.
And Your Honor, relevance.
Sustain.
Tell me about your and Hemy's home life as children.
It was difficult.
Okay, difficult in what way?
It was just in many aspects. I mean, it's just him and I.
I'm sorry,
I
didn't hear the word, I just didn't understand.
Would it help if I asked some more specific questions?
I can go so many places with that.
Okay. So let me ask you this. Would you consider your home life growing up with Hemy good?
Your Honor, I'm going to
Oh, no.
object.
One second.
I'm going to object. Can we approach?
Sure, come on up, lawyers. We're back on the record. Sustained. Move on.
Ms. Mitch, was your father physically abusive to Hemy?
Yes.
And was this something that happened one time or more than once?
It happened a lot.
Did your father work outside the home?
Yes, he did.
And to your knowledge, did Hemy look forward to your father coming home from work at the end of the day?
No.
What would happen when your father came home from work with respect to Hemy?
When my father would come home, there was a lot of tension in the house. And we just never knew how. First of all, he would drink first thing when he got home. So we always knew he was going to drink. He always drank. And he was there was a lot of screaming. It was he was very loud.
Screaming by who?
By my father.
You mentioned that he would come home and he would drink every night. Did his drinking affect his mood or his behavior towards Hemy?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Is there anything in particular that would set him off with respect to Hemy?
Oh, no. No.
Do you recall a particular incident with Hemy getting a bowl of ice cream?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Can you tell us about that?
It was, I remember we were sitting down, just playing a game with some cousins, and these things happened a lot, but in this particular occasion, we were just sitting down playing Mastermind, and Hemy got up to just go went to the kitchen, and came back with a bowl of ice cream. And we still don't, I don't know if Hemy just crossed my father or hit his lazy chair, but the next thing you know is my father the ice cream went flying, and he got cornered like he always did. My father would corner us or corner Hemy. And just started beating on him. And it's not beating.
So when you say beating?
Beating is getting cornered and getting beaten, repeatedly for no reason.
Is this particular example something unusual?
Oh, no. No. Not at all.
Who got the brunt of your father's anger?
Hemy did.
Do you know of instances where Hemy protected you from your father's anger?
All the time.
While these incidences were going on, where was your mom?
My mom was usually not home.
Okay. What was your parents' relationship like when they were home together?
A lot of tension. She was scared just as we were. A lot of screaming all the time.
Okay. You mentioned that your parents are no longer together. Was there, when they split up, was it just we're splitting up and that's the end of it?
No.
How did it happen?
No, my parents, from what I remember, split up at least 3 times from the time till I was about 11.
And when they split up, when you say they split up, were they living in different places
Yes.
during those times?
My father would take his own little apartment, or studio.
Was there any difference in your father's behavior towards Hemy when your parents were separated?
His behavior was different. There was, of course, there wasn't that that's the screaming and it was different. Yes. Yeah.
Was your mother very involved with yours and Hemy's and your other brothers' lives while you were growing up?
Not at all.
Did she get up and help you all get ready for school in the mornings?
Never.
Was she one that helped with homework?
No.
Who did those things for you?
Nobody.
Did Hemy excel at school?
Yes, he did.
And did at some point Hemy leave home?
Yes.
Do you know where he went?
He was. He went to Israel.
Do you remember how old he was?
It was like turning to 13. And a half.
And did you go to Israel with him?
No, I did not.
Did your brother go with him?
No, he did not.
Did your parents go with him?
No.
There was previous testimony that you had, and Hemy had housekeepers or nannies growing up.
Yes, we did.
And where were you living growing up? Tell me where you all lived.
I was born in Mexico, and at the age of 3, we moved to Puerto Rico, and my mom brought someone from Mexico, a housekeeper.
Is it uncommon in Central and South American countries for families to have household help?
No.
Is it primarily for wealthy families?
No.
Do you recall a time when Hemy protected you? You've mentioned that he protected you from your father at times. Was there anybody else that he protected you from?
Yes.
And do you recall a situation when he protected you from a cousin?
Yes, he did.
Can you tell the jury what Hemy did?
I was being abused by a cousin for a few years, and I had been taken to a room with this cousin, and
To object to non-responsive, she asked what Hemy did.
Sustain.
what Hemy.
Hold on. You want to answer that question? Not that question. You want to rephrase that question? Because then you ask her what did Hemy do?
I did, Judge, and
But you need to respond. I mean, the way it works, lawyers can ask questions. You can ask whatever you want. But the witness has to respond to your question.
Okay, just
What Hemy did.
get right to what Hemy did.
I was in a very bad situation, and what Hemy did was he was standing on a ledge of the building of the 5th floor where I was being held in a room, and Hemy was standing on a ledge knocking on the window, and as he was doing that and created that noise and the ruckus, because he was knocking and trying to open the window at the same time, it called the attention of my abuser, and he was able to stop from me being raped at that particular moment. And it was perfect timing. And
I want to move to 1981. Do you recall spending time with Hemy in 1981, specifically the summer of 1981?
Yes.
Do you know if he was still in school or had he completed school at that point?
He had not completed school, no.
Do you know where he was in school?
He was in Georgia Tech.
And where were you when you spent time with him that summer?
We were in Hallandale, Florida. My mom had a small townhouse there, and he came to spend the summer there, and we spent the summer together.
Okay. And tell us about your time with him. Was he, specifically that summer, did you guys go out and have a good time?
No.
What did he do that summer?
Actually, he didn't do anything. From what I recall from that summer is basically we just stayed in the whole time. He didn't go out at all. He didn't want to do anything.
Did you have the ability to go out? Did you have transportation?
Yes. I didn't have transportation. He had gotten a new car.
Do you recall what kind of car he got?
Yes, it was a Mustang. It was a Mustang 1981, I believe.
Okay. You talked about him not doing anything, not wanting to do anything. What was his mood like, as you recall it?
Very lethargic and unmotivated. Like I said, he didn't want to do anything. I persisted that I wanted to go out. It was my summer vacation.
Okay. How long did this mood last?
For as long as we were together.
And how long was that?
I think it was either 4 or 6 weeks that we were together. I'm not sure. But it was the duration of that whole summer.
Okay. And you said that Hemy was at Georgia Tech at that time. Do you recall how old you were approximately?
I was about 17, maybe 16 and a half, going to be turning 17.
I want to jump forward to 1997, 1998. Do you recall where Hemy was living at that time?
In 1997, in Israel.
Okay. And do you know if he had a job in Israel?
Objection.
Yes, he did.
Objection.
What's the objection?
Foundation.
That foundation, sustain.
For the question of did he have a job?
Yes.
Okay.
How does she know that?
Did you speak with your brother while he was living in Israel?
Objection.
Yes.
Hearsay.
Well, let me did she speak with her brother? I want to overrule that objection on that question, because the question was, did she speak with him? She didn't ask the contents of the conversation.
Yes, sir.
You can answer that question. I said yes.
Yes.
Next question.
Were you, did you have to send him money to financially support him during that time that he was living in Israel?
No.
Are you aware of anybody else having to support him?
No.
Did he ever discuss with you how he was supporting himself?
He had a very good job.
Objection. You wrong. Hearsay. It's a self-serving declaration.
Come up, lawyers, please. I'm going to sustain the objection.
Your Honor, I ask that the response be stricken on the record and the jury be asked to disregard.
All right. Based upon the court's ruling, I'm going to direct the jury on that last response. To that last question, you have that again. To disregard that response. All right. You may continue. Next question.
Are you aware of whether Hemy had children while he was in Israel?
Yes, he did.
Where were you living while he was in Israel?
In Hallandale, Florida.
Did he visit?
Yes, he did.
Do you recall a specific visit in 1997 or maybe 1998?
Yes.
Did he come alone?
Yes.
Did he ever visit during that time period with his wife and or his children?
Yes, he did.
And during any of those visits, did he ever express an interest in flying?
Objection, Your Honor. Hearsay. It's a self-serving declaration, and therefore it is hearsay. She is asking.
Sustain, I'm going to sustain that, Judge. Don't answer that question.
Judge, can we approach?
Oh, sure you can. Come on up. We're back on the record. Sustain. Don't answer that question. Next question.
You mentioned that Hemy came to visit at some point with his wife, and that he also came at some point without his wife. Right? And when he visited without his family, are you aware of what he did while he was here?
Yes, he came to visit by himself, and he was scouting for homes.
Objection, Your Honor. Foundation.
I sustain that foundation for that response.
Did you go with him to look for homes?
No.
Next question.
Did at some point Hemy move to Florida?
Yes, he did.
Did he move here with his Did he move to Florida with his family?
Yes.
And where in Florida did they move to?
To Boca Raton, Florida.
And did you? How close is Boca to where you were living?
It's about a half an hour away, 40 minutes.
And did you spend time with Hemy and his family while they were living in Boca?
Absolutely.
How long did they live there?
They lived there for exactly 1 year.
Do you know where his children went to school?
The three of them went to a private Jewish day school.
And do you know, were they living in a house or an apartment?
They were living in a townhouse.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're at a good point to go ahead and break for your afternoon break, and we'll pause right there. When I give you this break, do not discuss the case. I'll allow anyone to discuss the case with you. We're going to pick up after this break. If you do decide to have a deal here in Decatur, do not sit next to anyone who may or may not be discussing the case. You have two options. Either A, you can move away from them, or B, tell them to move away from you. Once I've released you for this session, do not remain upon the fifth floor. I don't want you to interact with anyone you should not interact with, say anything you should not see, or hear anything you should not hear. Do not read or look at any media coverage pertaining to this case. Do not go up on the internet and do any research about this case. Do not blog or write about this case while it's ongoing. Do not go to any location that may or may not have been made reference to. All the evidence will come to you in the form of sworn testimony from this witness stand, any stipulations, or anything that's introduced during the course of the trial. You're more than welcome to bring something to snack, or we can do that in the afternoon sessions. Do not consume any alcoholic beverages during the lunch break. This is your opportunity to check and review your communication with the outside world through your communication devices, with the exception of one person. If you could, when you come back, make sure your phone's in the off position. I think someone left there was on the vibrate position, but those things happen. But if you could, turn them off so they will not be disrupting the court sessions during the afternoon session. As I mentioned to you, the lawyers and the parties cannot talk and interact with you. I don't ever want you to think they're being rude or discourteous. They just can't interact with you outside of this courtroom. We're going to, you can be early, but you cannot be late. You're going to be on recess, and I will see you back in the jury room. I'll give yourself enough time to leave your department garage, leave the garage, park your motor vehicle, come in through the metal detectors because there may or may not be a line, come up to the 5th floor because there may or may not be a line for the elevators. If there is a line for the elevators, feel free to walk, but I just need your body here in the jury room at 1:30. 1:30. You're dismissed. Lawyers approach. Come on up.